Hey guys, Ivan here with the Old School Labs. So now that Mr. Olympia is over, we have some fun, some interesting moments after the Mr. Olympia, and also some of the competitors posted the photos and the videos prior to Mr. Olympia, as they were getting ready and getting in shape. So this video is gonna be a little bit different. It's not gonna be news or analysis or anything that I used to make before. It's gonna be some kind of compilation of interesting moments that came after Mr. Olympia, and also some throwbacks, some photos that surfaced of the competitors before the Mr. Olympia. So it's gonna be an interesting video. Prepare yourself and let's go. Let's go first with our newly crowned 212 Mr. Olympia champion, Sean Clarida. These photos were posted by his coach, Matt Jansen, who sort of proved the point of being a good coach. Yeah, Matt Jansen is now a really high caliber of a coach, having a Mr. Olympia in 212 under his belt, Sean Clarida here, and especially because Sean pretty much won from the back. And you can see it right here. His back looks absolutely insane. And you guys know that shows are won from the back. Between Sean Clarida and Kamal Gargni, it was close from the front, but Sean Clarida kind of closed the door from behind. So he won that show with his back. That was absolutely insane. Not just the back itself, but the glutes and the entire rear side was so peeled. Now taking a look at these photos, I mean, if you saw this a couple of days before 212 Mr. Olympia, you would know that he's gonna win it, because nobody looked this impressive. This is really amazing. It makes you wonder how well would he do in the open, but I don't think he would do that well because he is way too short. I thought he was too short for 212 to win it, but apparently that wasn't the case. I mean, he won it against a taller guy, taller than him. Nobody in 212 is actually tall, but some guys on the open are. And Hadi Choopan, for example, is definitely not one of them. He is rather one of the shortest guys on the Mr. Olympia stage in the open, yet when he poses next to Sean Clarida, he kind of dwarfs him. I don't think anybody from the top 6 at the Mr. Olympia was in really good shape. Nobody was really shredded, like really shredded. Some guys were more conditioned than the others, but we, for example, didn't even see a Christmas tree, and it was so close to Christmas, that show. Christmas tree didn't even happen, honestly. And Sean Clarida, however, he was really conditioned, but standing next to probably the shortest guy at the Mr. Olympia stage, or at least the shortest one in that top 6, he gets dwarfed. So you can see based on this that Sean wouldn't do very well in the open because he is really extremely short. And here are these photos that surfaced. It's him and Hadi posing together in a sort of an artistic way. And based on these photos, you can see that Hadi is kind of an artist. He really knows how to pose aesthetically, right? I mean, look at his physique right here. It looks very aesthetic. Sean, I mean, he's trying, but I don't really see that art in his physique as I see it in Hadi. Hadi really knows how to present his physique. He knows how to make it look outstanding, exceptional. Standing next to somebody who doesn't pose too artistically, you can see what I mean. I mean, take a look at his photos. I mean, you can say this is art when you see how Hadi is looking, not the way Sean is looking. Sure, Sean is more conditioned, but Hadi knows how to pose. Yeah, he really knows how to do it, and you can see his passion for bodybuilding. In that sense, that Hadi, in a way, perceives bodybuilding also as an art. Yeah, and it is an art form. Yeah, it's sport, it's art, it's beauty pageant. But you cannot deny the fact that there is an art aspect in this thing, in bodybuilding, and Hadi knows it, and he knows how to present it. And it looks beautiful, if you ask me. I like it. Whatever you think, tell me down below. Talking about open bodybuilding, your new Mr. Olympia in the open, Big Ramy. There are photos of him that surfaced on Dennis James' Instagram profile, and you can see right here that if we saw these photos, a day out of a show, everybody would predict Big Ramy winning the show. Yeah, but in these photos here, under this great lighting, he looks more conditioned than he actually was on that stage, especially from behind. I mean, if you take a look at his lower back here, you will see a lot of detail, a lot of conditioning. I mean, great separation and everything. but he wasn't really that sharp in the lower back area. However, his glutes were lean, but probably not as dry as here. Maybe he got a little bit watery in the final moments, not too watery, just dry enough to win the show, to win the Mr. Olympia. Yet he may have, I mean, if this is actually the way he looked really, a couple of days out of a show, I think 2 weeks before the show, I think he could have gotten better for the Mr. Olympia. Yeah, Dennis James stresses this is actually 2 weeks just when he arrived to United States. So he probably could have been sharper for that show, but still it was good enough. It was good enough to win because he apparently won. Obviously, he is the Mr. Olympia winner right now, but take a look at his photos. I mean, he looked absolutely amazing 2 weeks out. Notice how his legs are not even looking disproportional here, because he's pushing his shoulders forward and he's bringing his hips back, and his entire legs are actually being out-angled. So his legs look to be in proportion, and overall conditioning on him looks great in this shot right here. I also especially like this photo as well because of his crazy arms. And the way he's hitting front double bicep now, I like it way more than before. Without flexing the abs, it makes his waist look smaller. Yeah, he's prolongating the torso, but still it looks much more aesthetic. I mean, the waist looks smaller and the abs look more aesthetic when they're not flexed. You can still see a lot of separation because he has thick abs, and you can see the crazy biceps, the crazy arms, the crazy full chest, insane looking legs, and just a nasty physique. A proper Mr. Olympia winner, might I say. Proper for this year, against this competition. Not proper compared to the top bodybuilders, top Mr. Olympias of all time. You know, I mean, if you talk about a size, he's about the same size as Ronnie Coleman at his biggest. They were both 290 on the stage, but Ronnie Coleman had separation in the chest. He was not this, I mean, look at his chest, Big Ramy's chest. You can barely see separation, really. When he flexes it, you cannot really see the deep cuts. The conditioning is not very good. And then we saw a posing video of Big Ramy against the classic physique Mr. Olympia winner, Chrisbaumstead. And here you can see what I'm talking about when I say the chest striation. But of course, not before they turn around. From the back, you will see the conditioning difference. It's not that noticeable from behind, but from the front, you will see a huge difference. By the way, Chris would look like a baby standing next to Big Ramy last year. But now, I mean, with adding the angle a little bit, and with those crazy improvements in the back area that Chris was able to make, he is not being completely annihilated by Big Ramy, which should be the case, really. Chris is known for having great legs, but standing next to Ramy, they don't look that big, but they still look pretty decent. So the difference in conditioning was obvious. I mean, Chris was way more conditioned than Ramy, but obviously on stage he would be dwarfed. And here you can see it, what I'm talking about, the striation in the chest. Chris just has it, Big Ramy did not bring it. I don't know why. Is it just the way he likes to look? I mean, is it the way that bodybuilders are trying to look for the open division? Yeah, the judges are rewarding the fullness, the size, but I think they would be happy to see these kind of striations in the chest that Chris has on a guy who is as big as Ramy. So if Ramy could figure that out, he would be a Mr. Olympia for a very long time. But like this, it's possible that somebody can take him out sooner rather than later. But anyways, he is the Mr. Olympia winner right now, and he absolutely deserves it. Here is another interesting moment with these two guys. Big Ramy just standing there pumping up, Chris also getting tanned, and the way Chris is taking a look at Big Ramy, I love this. Take a look at this. Big Ramy is just standing there like a freaking giant, and Chris, who is also exceptionally muscular guy, is just standing there and admiring Big Ramy's physique and the size, the mass. Because Chris, I mean, yeah, he's big, but Ramy is a monster, a freaking monster. And Chris knows it. I mean, the way he's looking at him. Chris is the reigning champ in his division, and he shouldn't be admiring other physiques. But Big Ramy is just a different animal. Take a look at the size of this monster. Of course, Chris is admiring, but he's trying to make it seem not so obvious. But despite his best efforts, it's still apparent that he's absolutely in the awe of Big Ramy's crazy mass. So after the Mr. Olympia, Chris went on some kind of vacation with his girlfriend, with his sister, and with his sister's husband, his coach as well, Ian Walier, who took 7 at the Mr. Olympia stage. But before we get to that, I just wanted to show you this photo of Chris. Just imagine, going to this resort, wherever it was, and seeing a physique like this. It would be blown away, right? But what if you saw something like this? Yeah, this is crazy. This is insane. Honestly, guys, I'm a huge fan of Ian Walier. I follow him on Instagram, and I watch What the Biat's podcast. I love it when he comes. I mean, he's a great guy. And when I watched Mr. Olympia, I was really cheering for him, and I was really happy when he got that 7th place, guys. He was only 1 spot away from top 6. I wanted to see him also in the top 6, but I knew that Hakim was a bit better. Though Ian brought his best ever, so he was conditioned as hell, guys. He was ripped to the shreds. He was peeled to the bone. Yet the problem with his physique is usually the fullness. It's not conditioning. He can get lean easily, but without sacrificing the fullness, that's a bit tricky for him. However, this year he figured it out. He came full and conditioned, and he won. He won a rematch against Hunter Labrada, who beat him earlier this year at the Tampa Pro. But this time around, Ian was full and shredded, and Hunter was a little bit smoother and not as full as Ian. So yeah, when they're both on, it will be tricky to say who looks better, but this time around, at their second match against one another, Ian won, and I was happy because of that, because I'm a big fan of his. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Whatever you think, tell me down below in the comment section. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe for more videos like this. All the best, guys, and keep it old school.